9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense because here we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic, so for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have a much smaller YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss. It's in the description. Just bear with me because it seems like my Wi-Fi is acting up. I hope everyone can hear me. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube. Always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined. I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. I really appreciate your support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on a playback. So tonight episode, the topic will be, who is Pope Leo XIV? He was just made Pope, and history was made. He is the first American to become Pope. But before we get into that topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. First of all, I want to start off by giving a huge shout out to Don Armando for reaching 1K subs. I mean, it is a major achievement. Okay, so shout out to him. And if you're not check out his content, please do so. Because of course he has dealt with the same type of haters that I and other people have dealt with regarding questions regarding his identity and remarks made against himself and his better half. So a huge shout out to Don Armando. Now I just came across something that happened that happened today. I'm just going to share my screen, hopefully. Okay. It is regarding those of you who are not familiar. Okay. These are baseball players, okay, that were very proficient in their craft, which is playing baseball, hitting a baseball. And of course, and Pete Rose is more affectionately known as Charlie Hustle. who spent most of his career with the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, he is the all-time. In fact, let me just read to you the article. Okay. Major League. Excuse me. Okay. Major League Baseball on Tuesday removed Pete Rose and Shirley Jones Jackson, two of the sport's most famous players who were previously kicked out of baseball for gambling on the game, from the league's permanently ineligible list. The historical decision by NLB Commissioner considered for induction into the Hall of Fame, an honor which has been ruled out as part of the settlement he reached with Major League Baseball. Rose died in September, and Manfield ruled that his lifetime ban ended with his death. In my view, once an individual has passed away, the purpose of Rule 21 has been served. Obviously, a person no longer cannot represent a threat to the integrity of the game, Manfield wrote. Moreover, it's hard to conceive a penalty that is far more deterrent the fact that one that lasts a lifetime with no reprieve. Now, basically, that's regarding a rule stating that if a person is found guilty or is gambling on baseball, that results in a permanent ban from baseball. And that applied to Pete Rose and Shirley Jones Jackson. Now, with the situation with Shirley Jones Jackson, there was a scandal known as the Chicago Black Sox scandal, where some players were accused of throwing the 1919 World Series. In fact, here's the article. Here's some more information. Jackson was a member of the Chicago White Sox who was accused of conspiring with gamblers to lose the 1919 World Series on purpose. The Black Sox scandal is among the most infamous in baseball history, and Jackson, along with 7 of his teammates, were banned from life from MLB by then Commissioner Kennesaw Moulton Landis. 8 players of the White Sox were acquitted of the conspiracy with gamblers in 1921, but nonetheless were forced away from the game. 5, the 19 World Series. He had a then record 12 hits in the series, drove in 6 runs, didn't commit an error, and threw out 5 Cincinnati Red players. Now here's some more information. Rose, who passed away at age 83, holds the Major League Baseball record for most number of games played, which is 3,462, and hits 4,256. After transitioning into a career as a manager, NLB revealed in the spring of 1989 he was investigating Rose for gambling. Among the accusations that he gambled on baseball games played by teams he either played for or managed. He admitted on gambling on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds, and said in a 2007 radio interview that he bet on every Reds game while he was managing. In the final years of his life, Rose attempted multiple times to get reinstated by the league and to be made eligible for induction in the Hall. He tried to get reinstated by the league in 2015 and 2020, but was denied. And we're going to park it here. Now, let me just give you my thoughts. Of course, there's always been a concern about gambling and things of that nature, particularly at a time when baseball players were not paid the incredibly huge salaries that they're getting today. So at times there's always a temptation to throw games. I don't have a problem with the reinstatement, But my thing is, it should be applicable across the board. I mean, not only should it be applicable to these two baseball players, but should be applicable for everyone that's been permanently banned. Because there have been other players that have been banned, other than gambling, but also regarding substance abuse. Okay, because when you think about Major League Baseball, I mean, it's a highly competitive sport, and of course, there is the temptation to use all sorts of means, to run faster, hit the ball farther, and things of that nature. Okay. Obviously, I never played professional baseball. I mean, so I really wouldn't know. But I do know that there is a huge temptation to use foreign substances, and not only that, um, you have to deal with groupies and women trying to throw themselves at these people because let's keep it real. If a woman can get herself pregnant by a Major League Baseball player, that means guess what? Thousands of dollars of child support, and they can live higher off the hog. So there's a lot of temptation involved. So we shall wait and see. Now I'm probably not going to be on that long. I'll probably be on tonight, maybe about an hour. Okay, because I do have to go to bed and get to work tomorrow. So with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone at any time wishes to hit that link and enter and join the panel and opine regarding the topic at hand, they may do so. As always, if I have never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. And let me make it perfectly clear. If you're going to enter the chat or you're going to enter the panel, you're going to behave yourself because it is a privilege. Yes, it is a privilege to be on my chat and on my panel. Okay. Now, I have been fortunate in the sense that not too many people have tried to invade or create havoc. Those that did, it did not end well. Okay. So, with that being in mind, last week history was made when the first American became Pope. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again. Wait, before I do that, let me check and see if there's anyone watching in Instagram. Okay. All right. Just give me a moment. Okay. Oh, let me just give me a moment. Come on. Okay. Now, basically, before he became Pope, he was otherwise known as uh, Robert Francis Prevost. Okay. Now, here's some information regarding the new Pope. He was born in Chicago, Illinois. Okay. As far as Pope is concerned, he's relatively young. He is 69 years old, and yes, 69 years old is considered young. Okay, considering that the previous Pope was in his 70s. Now, he was born in Chicago, Illinois, and raised in the town near the city's south side. Prevost became the friar of the Order of St. Augustine in 1977, when and he was ordained as a priest in 1982. His service included extensive missionary work in Peru from 1985 to 1986 and 1988 to 1998, when he served as a parish pastor, diocesan official, seminary teacher, and administrator. He was elected prior general of the Order of St. Augustine from 2001 to 2013. He later returned to Peru as Bishop, how do you pronounce this? Chiclayo from 2015 to 2023. In 2023, Pope Francis appointed him prefect of the dicastery for bishops and president of the Pontifical Commission for Latin America, and made him a cardinal the same year. A United States citizen by birth, Leo XIV is the first pope that had been born in North America, the first also to hold Peruvian citizenship, having naturalized in 2015, and the second pope from the Americas after Francis. He is the first pope from the Order of St. Augustine and the seventh Augustinian pope. His double name was inspired by Pope Leo XIII, who developed Catholic social teaching. As a cardinal, he emphasized synodality, missionary dialogue, and engagement with social and technological challenges. He also engaged with issues such as climate change, global migration, church governance, and human rights, and expressed alignment with the reforms of the Second Vatican Council. And here you see a picture of the new Pope. And of course, these are all the different titles that he holds. Okay. Among them, also he was Cardinal Deacon of Santa Monica from 2023 to 2025. And Cardinal Bishop of Albano. Now, here's some personal information. His mother was Mildred Agnes, was born in Chicago to a Louisiana Creole family that moved from the 7th Ward of New Orleans. She graduated from DePaul University with a bachelor's degree in library science in She graduated from DePaul University with a bachelor's degree in library science in 1947. His father, Louis Maris Provost, also Chicago native, was a United States Navy veteran of World War II who commanded an infantry landing craft in the Normandy landings and later participated in Operation Dragoon in southern France. He later became superintendent of Brookwood School District 167 in Glenwood, Illinois. Now, Good evening, Pete. Thank you very much for stopping by. Tonight, we're talking about the new Pope, Pope Leo XIV. So I'm just sharing some information regarding his life before he became Pope. Known as Bob or Rob in childhood and friends as an adult, Provost was raised in Dalton, Illinois, a suburb bordering Chicago's South Side. He grew up in the parish of St. Mary of the Assumption in nearby Riverdale, where he went to school, sang in the choir, and served as an altar boy. Prevost aspired to the priesthood at a young age and would play at the Mass at home with his brothers. From 1969 to 1973, Prevost attended St. Augustine Seminary High School, a minor seminary near Saukett, Michigan. His brother John recalled how at the end of the 8th grade, and especially after joining the Order of St. Augustine until they were adulthood when need allowed them to reconnect. Okay, so let's go on to his career in the priesthood. On September 1st, 1977, Prevost joined the Order of St. Augustine as a novice, residing 1 year at the Immaculate Conception Church in Gate District neighborhood of St. Louis, Missouri. Following the completion of his first year, he moved to Chicago and took his first vows on September 2nd, 1978, and solemn vows on August 28, 1981. Prevost was ordained a priest in Rome at the Church of Santa Monica degli Agostini by Archbishop Jean Jadot in June 19, 1982. Prevost joined the Augustinian mission in Peru in 1985, serving as Chancellor of the Territorial Prelature of Chucuanas. In 1987, after defending his doctoral thesis, he was Vocation Director and Missions Director of the Augustine Province of Our Mother of God, a Good Counsel in Olympia Fields, Illinois, and worked with the faculty of the Augustinian Novitiate in Okanowac, Wisconsin, before returning to Peru in 1988. During his time in Peru, Prevost met and appreciated Father Gustavo Gutierrez, the founder of Liberation Theology. Prevost spent a decade in the Augustine Seminary at Trujillo teaching canon law in the Diocesan Seminary, serving as the prefect of studies, acting as a judge in the regional ecclesiastical court, and working in parish ministry in the city outskirts. He proved successful in the Augustine efforts to recruit Peruvians for the priesthood and leadership positions in the order. He organized support for the Venezuelan refugees in Peru, despite discrimination against the Venezuelans. During the Fujimori era, Prevost criticized the action of then President Alberto Fujimori, placing special emphasis on the victims of the Peruvian army, especially the colonial group during the period of terrorism in Peru, as well as political corruption. In 2017, he criticized President Pedro Pablo Kuczynski's decision to pardon Fujimori and called upon Fujimori to personally apologize for some of the great injustices that were committed. His years in Peru gave personal knowledge of political violence and inequality, even going so far as to travel by horse to difficult roads, due to his missionary commitments to the isolated communities in the valleys of La Pacayac. He also stood as a defender of human rights for the population of the North Chico region against violence of the Marxist-Leninist Mao guerrilla organization Shining Path. In 1998, Prevost was elected prior provincial of the Order of St. Augustine, province of Our Mother of Good Counsel, based in Chicago, assuming the throne on March 8, 1999. In 2000, He made James Rain, an Augustine priest, to reside in St. John's Stone Friary in Chicago under supervision. Ray has been suspended from public ministry since 1991 due to credible accusation that he had sexually abused minors. Provost was later criticized of the friary's proximity to the grammar school. Ray was moved to other housing in 2002 after American Vision implemented stricter rules. On November 3rd, 2014, Pope Francis appointed Provost the Apostolic Administrator of the Diocese of Chiclayo in northern Peru and the titular Bishop of Sufar. He was consecrated on December 12, 2014 in St. Mary's Cathedral in Chiclayo by Archbishop James Green, Apostolic Nuncio to Peru. On September 26, 2015, he was named Bishop of Chiclayo. In accordance with Concordat, Prefect became a naturalized Peruvian citizen before becoming bishop. On July 13, 2019, Provost was appointed member of the Congregation of the Clergy, and in April 15, 2020, was made Apostolic Administrator at Caron. On November 21st, 2020, he joined the Congregation for Bishops. Within the Episcopal Conference of Peru, he served as the Permanent Council from 2018 to 2020 and was elected president of his Commission for Education and Culture in 2019, contributing to Caritas Peru. While bishop, he established a diocesan commission on secular ecology and appointed a woman to lead it. Just going to go ahead and just go. Pope Francis was a close friend of Provost and advanced his career. On July 30th, 2023, Francis was appointed Provost Prefect of the Dicastery for Bishops with the title of Archbishop Bishop Emeritus of Chiclayo. Provost expressed a preference to stay in Peru, but nevertheless accepted the appointment to move to Rome. On September 30th, 2023, Francis created Provost a cardinal with the rank of cardinal deacon and assigned him with the title of Santa Monica di Gili Agostiniani. As prefect, he played a critical role in evaluating and recommending episcopal candidates worldwide, increasing his visibility within the church. These roles elevated the prominence as a papal candidate leading into the conclave. In this role, he recommended that Joseph Strickland be removed from the office of Bishop of the Diocese of Tyler, Texas in November 23. In October 23, Francis appointed him a member of the 7 additional dicasteries and named him the Pontifical Commission for the Vatican City State. And now we're going to go into the papacy. In pre-conclave speculation, Prevost was considered a dark horse candidate compared to a more prominent Peperali, although he was noted to be an ally of Pope Francis as possible compromise candidate. His American nationality has been regarded as a potential stumbling block to his candidacy, reflecting the unease about enhancing the United States geographical political power. Supporters argued that he represented a dignified middle of the world. Prevost was elected Pope on May 8, 2025, on the second day of the conclave, on the fourth ballot. While smoke appeared from the Sistine Chapel at 1806 SCST time, signifying to the public that a Pope has been chosen. Accepting his election and adoption papal name, Leo embraces 4 cardinals upon exiting the Sistine Chapel. Cardinal Dominique Mamberti, the Cardinal Protodeacon, made the traditional Latin proclamation, Abel Papam, from the central lockyard from St. Peter's Basilica, announcing Pope Leo XIV probably the first time. Now, we're going to talk about his views. Like I said, I'm not going to be here that long. Prevost's paper name was chosen in honor of Pope Leo the 13th, who was Pope from 1878 to 1903, whose encyclical Rerum established the Catholic social teaching and promoted labor rights. According to the Holy See Press Office Director Matteo Bruni, his choice was clearly a reference to the lives of men and women, to their work, and even in an age marked by artificial intelligence. According to Cardinal Fernando Chamali of Chile, he had told it that the choice of paper name was based on his concern of the world cultural shifts, a type of Copernican revolution and involving artificial intelligence and robotics. Chamali said he was inspired by Leo XIII, who was in the midst of the Industrial Revolution, wrote Rerum Novarum, launching an important dialogue between the church and the modern world. He himself explained that the church offers to everyone treasury of a social teaching in response to another industrial revolution and developments in the field of artificial intelligence that pose new challenges in the defense of human dignity, justice. And I'm just going to share a little bit regarding his policy. Provost is a strong proponent of synodality, one of Pope Francis' signature legacies. He sees that participation and co-responsibility of all faithful can address the polarization in the church. In May 2023, Pope said in his episcopal leadership should prioritize faith over administration. His first priority was to communicate the beauty of the faith, the beauty of joy of knowing Jesus. Also in May 2023, Pope said there's faith that the Holy Spirit is pushing us toward the renewal. Discussing the ordination of women in October 23, Pope stated there was significant and long tradition the church makes it impossible to consider women as priests. By contrast, he observed the possibility of women deacons have been a subject of Vatican Commission, demonstrating openness and giving consideration to that question. He also cautioned that the clericalization of women doesn't necessarily solve a problem and it could create new issues. He approved women's service leadership positions in the church, including some important roles as members of the dicastery for bishops. Commenting on Pope Francis' 2023 appointment of 3 women as members of the dicastery of bishops, is he had, that his perspective often aligned with other members but can introduce private viewpoints. And we're going to park it here. I don't know that. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if the new Pope actually said that. I have never heard him say that. Now, as a young person, I was familiar with an organization known as Courage. And what it is, it's an organization of Catholic men that have, how can I say this? That have a physical attraction towards men, another physical attraction of the same sex, of which they will continue to lead their life as Catholics, but they will not act upon their sexual orientation. Now, this is always been a difficult topic, for many reasons. Because first of all, because you have 2 people who have different interpretations. But in all fairness, the Bible is very clear as it pertaining to homosexuality. It is declared an abomination. Okay. Uh, Now, please be mindful. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying what the Bible declares it. Okay. Nevertheless, we are to treat everybody with dignity and with respect, regardless what is their sexual orientation. Okay. What I find is a problem is that people will focus on homosexuality as a sin and not focus on the other things because there are other things which are sins as well. Adultery is a sin, lying is a sin, theft is a sin, bearing false witness against okay is a sin. So there's other things, and my approach when it comes to dealing with those who identify themselves as part of the LGBTQ plus community is that I treat everybody with respect. I treat everyone with dignity. Okay. And I can do that and not necessarily agree with their sexual orientation. Okay. And I know that there are certain Christians that could be extremely judgmental. Okay. And talking about that these people are definitely going to go to hell. And the way, and this is the way I see it. God hates sin, but God loves the sinner. Okay, and let's keep it clear. Sin is any time that God gives you a directive and you do the opposite. That's sin. Okay, that's what it is. Now, when it comes to dealing with the LGBTQ plus community, I think part of the problem is why they deal with the issues that they deal with is that there are some misconceptions regarding them. Okay. I'm not saying that they're evil. Okay. However, I respectfully disagree with the belief that someone is born gay. I truly believe that. And I base it on the belief that it's a learned behavior. It's something that we learn. Okay. No one is born being a racist. No one is born being xenophobic. Okay. That's a behavior that's developed over time. And also, I truly believe the biblical account when it talks about when it comes to the issue of homosexuality. Okay, in the book of Genesis, okay, Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed um, because of not just the homosexuality that the people practice, but the evil that they performed. Okay, even with that, I mean, there is an account where Abraham was pleading with God and asking God if there was any innocent people in the city to spare the city, and he, you know, God promised that if there was so much as 10 righteous people, He would spare the city. unfortunately, there was not 10 righteous people. Okay. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how Pope Leo XIV is going to, deal with many of the issues. Now, I do know that Pope Francis, before he died, he did have an audience with J.D. Vance, and one thing we know that many of the things um, that Pope Francis didn't like had to do with the treatment of, immigrants and people who are marginalized. Okay, and it's going to be interesting to see how Pope Leo XIV is going to interact with President Trump. Okay, because no offense to the Trump supporters, I mean, he kind of has he's very conceited, and he like to think of himself as the greatest president of in U.S. history. Uh, History will make an assessment regarding the Trump administration. Now, I do look forward to when Pope Leo do arrive in the United States and come to New York. Now, I have the blessing and the privilege of attending um, a pontifical mass with Pope John Paul II when he came to New York um, in 1979 and in 1995. I unfortunately did not have that same opportunity to participate in pontifical mass with Pope Francis, but I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I'm sure all of you have your opinions regarding Pope Leo XIV. Now, one thing I did not know that he's part Creole. Okay, and actually, one of the individuals that pointed it out was was Creole lady, who is Creole. Now, if you ask me what are Creoles, to be perfectly honest, I couldn't even tell you, other than the fact that they come from Louisiana. I couldn't tell you, but I think it's very unique. Okay, that we have someone of Creole ancestry. That makes it very unique. And also, it is reported that Pope Leo speaks 8 languages, which of course includes Latin. So that's something that's really amazing. I mean, when you think about it, learning to speak 8 languages, okay, that takes a great deal of time and energy and dedication. So I think this current pope is going to be around for quite some time. So we're going to see what happens. Now, just to give you an idea, now on Thursday on my other channel, I'm going to be talking about Latinos and Catholicism. Okay, because one thing that's true is that there is a strong Catholic influence in Latin American culture. And okay, considering the fact that we were all at one time the territory of Spain. Okay, and of course Spain was a is a predominant Catholic country. Oh, I see here that my cyber daughter Denise. Good evening. Que Dios te bendiga, hija. You have been strongly missed. And Ingrid, no sé que hablen en inglés o en español, pero bienvenida al canal. So, just to give you an idea, I see here we have all heart, grit, and grind. Peace to you, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. I think, okay. First of all, welcome to the channel. Okay, you're more than welcome to hop on whenever you are available. So lately I've been talking, for the last 40 minutes, I have been talking about the new Pope Leo XIV. And of course, he is the first. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. Also, he became a naturalized Peruvian citizen, which was necessary, I guess, in order for him to, for his role as bishop. But thank you very much for stopping by. So I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be here that long. But you know what? It's okay. You can always catch it on. You can always catch it on the playback. Okay. It's just that I need to get to bed early. That's all. Good evening, Irby. But I just to let you know, I do lives 4 times a week. Just to let you know, 3 times on this channel. The other one, another channel called Latina Diaspora. Now on Friday, I'm gonna be having open discussion. Basically, I'll talk about anything and everything that's on my mind, and I will just share with the audience my views. And of course, the audience is more than welcome to share their input. And if they have anything that they want me to talk about, I will do my best to comply. Okay. Now, in all fairness and for the sake of transparency, there might be some things which I may not know a great deal about. I'll be transparent about it. Okay. Because one thing about me, I believe in being transparent. Yes. And I believe in keeping it real. Okay. Which is very important because I don't know how long you've been around out here in these YouTube streets, but we deal with a lot of phony people out here. Okay. We also deal with a lot of people who are grossly immature, if you know what I mean. But I don't know if you have a channel. If you do, I'll check it out. Okay. It does that sometimes it gets, in all fairness, I'm subscribed to many people. So it gets, okay. So what I'll do is this week I'll check out your channel. I'll check out your channel and I'll probably subscribe. Okay. But I really appreciate everyone stopping by. And first of all, a huge shout out to all of you who continue to support this channel. Okay. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm just someone who trying to share a little bit of knowledge, try to create content that's positive, okay? Because this is a labor of love for me, okay? That's what it is, a labor of love. Um, I don't I don't get a penny out of doing this. I just do it because I just like to interact with the audience. I like to share knowledge. I also like to get feedback from the audience. Okay. So here, this is basically an open channel. So in any case, I'm gonna start the wrap. I'm gonna stop the wrap this up. So we will wait and see how things go with the new pope. Okay. So those of you who are just catching now, just catch it the stream and playback. Everyone is more than welcome to opine. And of course, I'm gonna close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity, the mess, and insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Hossein Negron, saying good night, take care, and